Better place than the White House Rose Garden for President Bush to announce a new goal and a new strategy for reducing gases that contribute to global warming. The president laid out a plan of moderate steps and said Congress should play a role in making specific decisions. But Democrats were quick to criticize. Chief Washington correspondent Jim Angle reports.
President Bush, in an effort to shape a growing debate over how to reduce greenhouse gases, stepped into the fray today, but issued a caution at the outset.
Many are concerned about the effect of climate change on our environment. Many are concerned about the effect of climate change policies on our economy. I share these concerns, and I believe they can be sensibly reconciled.
The president pointed to progress made in cooperation with Congress, setting higher mileage standards for cars, incentives for increases in renewable fuels such as ethanol, and stricter efficiency standards for lighting and appliances, among other things. But he concedes more action is needed and put a proposal on the table as the U.S. heads into international negotiations that include China and India, two of the world's fastest-growing nations, which have so far resisted pollution controls. He seems to be offering them some encouragement.
Today I'm announcing a new national goal to stop the growth of U.S. greenhouse gas emissions by 2025.
He didn't say how, other than encouraging new technologies, but he did call on utilities, what he calls the power sector, to stop increasing emissions in 10 to 15 years, then start reducing them. And then he laid out how we should not proceed.
Some courts are taking laws written more than 30 years ago to primarily address local and regional environmental effects and applying them to global climate change.
President deplored a recent development, lawsuits against the Environmental Protection Agency that may force it to regulate emissions not just from power plants, but potentially from every entity in every community.
It also forced the government to regulate smaller users and producers of energy, from schools and stores to hospitals and apartment buildings.
With the result, he warned, that regulators could override programs adopted by Congress and impose extremely onerous restrictions. He quoted Democratic House member John Dingell, who referred to that as a glorious mess. So the president embraced something he doesn't always applaud, action by Congress instead of unelected regulators.
Such decisions should be made by the elected representatives of the people they affect. American people deserve an honest assessment of the costs, benefits, and feasibility of any proposed solution.
But some Democrats were not impressed.
He's taking tepid half steps rather than attacking the problem.
We need to cut greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. We shouldn't be waiting 10 or 15 years for the United States to start showing leadership.
The Senate's likely to vote in June on a bill sponsored by Senator Joe Lieberman, which would set firm emissions limits beginning in 2012. The president doesn't like that one, but several lawmakers took his remarks today as encouragement to act in order to preempt regulators. In Washington, Jim Angle, Fox News.